Welcome to the Osmo Early Bird Podcast. It's your old pal Emac coming to you with a Monday slate. I am joined by one Ryan Patnake. Is that close?
That's close. That's really close. Yeah. It's
Rinpack is
Patnaik.
the easier way to
Yeah.
go.
There you go. That's what I play by and pretty much kind of been known by on the DFS
Indeed. So you
circuit.
guys should be Ryan did the show with us last Sunday night as we record this heading into Monday, but he also has done quite a bit of stuff there with Fast Eddie Fair, little summer league, little preseason NBA, some NBA finals, all that good stuff. So we're in good hands with him, and he's definitely playing on FanDuel. I know you dabble also on DraftKings as well, but you're back on for that secondary degree there. Back in school. How is
That
it in
is.
school after you've been out for a while? Was it a
Oh,
hard plunge back in, or?
it was really weird. I mean, imagine going back to the same lecture hall that you were sitting in, like when you were a senior in undergrad, and you come back 3 years later, and like it feels so weird when I came back earlier this fall. But there was a transition curve. Like the first month, I was traveling quite a bit, but come mid-October and with finals just wrapping up, you feel back right in the zone. But finding that balance of DFS in school, it was a bit tough, but I've kind of found my groove as the semester has come along. Excited to be back home for the holidays and get to play some more DFS, so can't complain.
Absolutely, it is the perfect time. Well, we've got let's see, 7 gamer here on Monday as we head in. We've got some injury news, so we know some things, and we'll do a minor amount of speculation. But we do have at 9:30 a.m. the NBA DFS show. That is the strategy show, which will be Josh Engelman and Dave Lochran. You know him better as Lofty D. And then at 11 for you NFL guys, you're going to get Lofty going back to back, and he will be joined by Manny Laura, and they'll be looking at Sunday's results for the NFL and a brief look ahead. And then, of course, there's some NHL. I believe there's a 5-gamer, so you get a show by Jay Kari later on Monday afternoon, and then the deeper dive with Lofty. Lofty's got 3 shows tomorrow. Busy day for him. He'll be joined by Adam Scherer, and they'll do the deeper dive per normal, and then it'll be live before lock. So we've got you covered here, but Rimpak and I are going to give you a first look, your foundational look. Couple highlights that we're going to talk about the injuries. So Luka Doncic went out on Saturday night, played just about 2 minutes, sprained his ankle. He's going to miss a couple weeks here, so that's going to have a cascade effect with what's going on with the minutes and guard options, because Coach Rick Carlisle will have quite a few. We have Andre Drummond still dealing with an eye inflammation. He was a late scratch on Saturday night, and then Blake Griffin went out with a knee injury. Griffin's sitting there at 5,900 on DraftKings. I don't know that I will be tempted to go there even if he is back. He has been clearly a little step slow, or half a step slow this season, as he recovers from the injuries that shut him down last year and kept him out for most of the offseason. But those are the main ones. And then a couple minor ones. You've got Maurice Bogner still out for the Wizards, Justice Winslow and Goran Dragic still out for Miami. And then reminder, if you haven't picked him up yet, if he's even still on your waiver wires, DeAndre Ayton has 1 more game left on his suspension. But let's start off at point guard. Talk about the Dallas situation.
Yeah, so the Dallas situation, obviously devastating news. I mean, Luka's been so great, top 5 MVP candidate this season. To see him get hurt is just like it's upsetting. I love watching him play, and he's been phenomenal all year. But him going down with the ankle injury happens. Injuries are part of the game, but this is where we got to take advantage of in DFS. So what happened? We were talking about this earlier before we started the show on what the rotation might look like with him going out. So once he got hurt, Delon Wright came in, but Delon Wright is coming off a thigh injury, and he was only limited to 9 minutes. And they Carlisle has options, and obviously he ended up playing Jalen Brunson 34 minutes last game. So he's Jalen Brunson's cheap on Yahoo and FanDuel, priced at 3.7 on FanDuel, and I think he's 11 on Yahoo. So a lot of people are probably going to plug and play him, but it wouldn't shock me if Seth Curry gets hot, gets extra run at the point guard position, or Delon Wright might have some ball handling duty. So, and JJ Barea is also there as well. So it seems the 34 minutes do seem great looking at the previous box score, but it wouldn't shock me if it's high 20s. But he's still a very good value play on those sites, and definitely can pay off that price tag pretty easily. And it would be very hard for me to move away him in cash games for sure.
All right, so that's the big piece of news. We might have a little bit more knowledge of what Carlisle's going to do, but DK got a little bit ahead of it, put Brunson there at 55, but he's basically the minimum on the other side. So, as Rinpack said, definitely you want to run him out there in your cash games, but we'll have some interesting choices here as we continue on point guard. So Russell Westbrook should be back after sitting out Saturday's, wait for it, loss, as Houston lost to Detroit, which at home of all things, which was just kind of crazy. They lost by 12 was it 12 points, 8 points. It was kind of there, people were making 3-pointers there at the end, so I didn't see the final score, but that was rather disappointing because we were all in on James Harden. But now that we have Harden again next to Westbrook, and Harden is still priced at 12,900 on DK, that is going to be a tough ask. We're going to point out a couple other discount dandies that'll help you get there, but that is earmarking a huge chunk of your salary. He is 12,400 on FanDuel, and then he is 59 on Yahoo. Presenting sponsor Yahoo. We'll talk about them a little more. That's the new high, Rinpack. 59. It was 50. It was 55 or 56 coming into the season. Then it was 58. This is the first 59 that I have seen. So we'll talk about some of their cheapies on here, and then I usually put in a few on the Cash Game Building Blocks article. But if you have not yet signed up for Yahoo, you can definitely do that and get a $30 deposit bonus if you come in on the Osmo link and use our promo code. When you make your first DFS deposit, they will match you in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which is their form of site cash that will be available for immediate use into any contest. You can find that link, instructions, and promo code at the bottom of any of the Cash Building Blocks articles or any of the Primetime NFL articles. So we've got Westbrook coming back here. He's not really priced down on any of the sites either. 96 on DK, 10,400 on FanDuel. Decent price, 43 there on Yahoo. You've got Devin Booker. I think he's a little dinged up. I'll have to look and see about that. But Damian Lillard's the first guy I really get to that gets me some interest there. Rick Rubio, also someone that's kind of nice. Kyle Lowry. We should be without Fred VanVleet once again, so I think Lowry's a really good play here. What do you like here of our more traditional point guards kicking Harden over there to shooting guard when we get to that position?
So I'm a big fan of Kyle Lowry at 7-7. He's playing against Cleveland, and we've just been picking on Cleveland across all 5 positions this year so far. Cleveland's terrible. Kyle Lowry, and we talked about this. Kyle Lowry coming back from injury, and no Fred VanVleet as of now, or is VanVleet supposed to be?
No, he's still doubtful. They think he's going to miss.
He's still doubtful. Game. So I like Kyle Lowry a lot at the 7-7 price tag on DraftKings, and I believe he is 8-7 on FanDuel. It's a bit too expensive for my liking, just in case Toronto does blow it out, and it'll be a little tougher to pay off that 8-7 price tag, but it's not terrible. I mean, Kyle Lowry can put up 45 in 3 quarters against Cleveland. Wouldn't shock me at all. Other intriguing options are CJ McCollum, priced at 6-5 against Phoenix, is also another potential because he has point guard, shooting guard eligibility. And it's depending on what Milwaukee does again. Dante D Vincenzo is priced at 4-6. He's someone who played they ran point Giannis last time out, and he at 4-6 with point guard eligibility is not a terrible option. He's played really well last game, so if you're trying to save some salary, you definitely can look at that. And some other potential options. Gonna keep an eye on Isaiah Thomas news. He isn't marked as probable right now. He's priced at 4-8. It's someone if Scott Brooks says he doesn't have a minutes limit, but they do split it down 4 and 4. So 24 and 24 at times between him and Ish. But those are some names that I'm looking at. And it's going to be a day to, I'm personally right now, if you're to tell me to start a roster at point guard, it's going to be tough for me to move away from Lowry.
All right. Yeah. So Bledsoe's going to miss about 2 weeks. Has a right fibula avulsion fracture. Sounds like sort of a hairline fracture type thing there, but that is no bueno. So he's going to be out. And as you mentioned, we've got Dante D Vincenzo. The interesting thing is, so D Vincenzo started. George Hill essentially was his direct backup. They had about 2 minutes of overlap in the second quarter, and then none in the first, none in the third. Where's the fourth? And none in the fourth. So just be cognizant of that. This is not a slam dunk George Hill spot, but he looks like he's running with the second unit, which we know getting solid minutes there means if he's the main distributor, that'll work out from him. And it looked like it was, until they got into the fourth quarter, it looks like they were playing a little bit of matchups, and then it was kind of a blowout there against Cleveland, so they were letting the bench go a little farther than normal. But it looks like it'll be mostly Hill with Ilyasova, Connaughton, and Robin Lopez, and then they'll mix in Sterling Brown or Corver or DJ Wilson or whomever is around in that one. But I don't mind George Hill as an extreme value play. Just know what you're getting when that comes into play there. Let's move along here to shooting guard. Bradley Beal going against Detroit. Beal had 56 against Memphis, 56 fantasy points, that is. 29 real points, 10 boards, 4 assists, 4 steals in yet another Wizards loss. It's nothing that anybody should be surprised of, though they were favored. Basically, that game was a pick 'em. The Wizards were up or favored by a point, then Memphis was, then the Wizards were, and then Memphis was to close it out. So it was sad that Memphis kicked the Wizards' ass, but I think we're okay there with Beal. You've got DeRozan going against Houston, favorable price point at 7,400. Perhaps they can coax him into taking some more shots and playing a little faster. You've got Chris Middleton, who will be stepping up to take some of the scoring load that is vacated there by Eric Bledsoe. He is at 69, comes in at shooting guard and small forward on DK. That's rather helpful. And then another guy I like, I'm curious for your thoughts on, because you don't really want to go game log watching. The minutes are there, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander coming in at 6,200, going against that great matchup against Chicago that just does not care about defense. Actually, they don't care about anything in Chicago. There is no franchise plan there. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 38, 36, 33, 38 minutes in his last 4 games, 24, 27, 36, and 39 fantasy points. Those kind of minutes, I would expect forays into the 40s there. We're not seeing that. What do you think about Gilgeous-Alexander and any of those other top-end guys?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Gilgeous-Alexander. He started off the season real hot, and then I think he kind of came down to earth a little bit, but priced down at 6'2", playing against Chicago. I can't agree. It seems like another phenomenal spot for him to play off that price tag. Someone who's kind of interesting, kind of getting more minutes of late, has been Kevin Porter Jr. of the Cavs, priced down at 3.8 for trying to save some money. It's a GPP shot, but it's going to be important to keep some news on what happens in Detroit. Luke Kennard really stepped up last game against Houston. He's priced at 5'4", with shooting guard and small forward eligibility on DraftKings. I like that. I like how he played last game. It was very just controlling the offense, and he's really stepped up his game this year. He's obviously got a lot of hate for being the pick before Donovan Mitchell and whatnot, and it seems like he's coming into form. And this is now year 3.
I was just calling that up because I was trying to remember. So yes, this is year 3. Started 9 games as a rookie, played 73, 20 minutes a game, scored 7.5 points. As a second year, he started 10 games, played 63 total, 23 minutes, scored just shy of 10 points per game. This year, he started 22 of 25, is playing 33 minutes, and he is scoring 16 points per game. So he's darn near doubled his points total there. We've seen the assists actually double, and the minutes are just coming up about 50%. So you're absolutely right. He has been outstanding here. The shooting percentage staying the same, even though he's increasing his field goal attempts. He's knocking down nearly 40% of his 3-pointers, 90% from the line, and getting 4 assists per game. Prior to that, his career high was 1.8 assists per game. So this is a trend that I think is going to continue. And I just thought he was going to be a lost cause, but this, maybe it just took a little while for him to find his role. But wait for it. Reggie Jackson's going to be coming back soon to upset the apple cart. But I for now, I think we got to roll with Luke Kennard.
Yeah. Onto the FanDuel. Norman Powell's priced at $5K flat with Fred VanVleet. Doubtful. I like that. You know who ended up playing 26 minutes last game for the Cavs? It was Pat McCall. And Pat McCall is priced at the minimum on FanDuel. So that's an interesting option if you're going to try to save some money there. And if Toronto were to blow out Cleveland, I would expect him to get some additional blowout run. Other options on FanDuel that are starting out, you could always obviously James Harden priced at 12-4. He can obviously has shown that he can pay that off. Jimmy Butler is priced at 9-4. I'd like also Tyler Hero. He is 4-6. He's obviously showing some inconsistencies as a rookie would, but those are some options I'm looking at right now. Going to have to be important to make sure we get news on Devin Booker. He's right now questionable, I believe, for tomorrow. So there's going to be some moving parts, as there always is throughout the day tomorrow. On Yahoo, Jalen Brunson is $11. He's the shooting guard eligible player on Yahoo. So I expect him to be a very popular option, rightfully so, at that price tag. Bradley Beal's at 44, and he seems like a good price there. Shai Gilgeous is at 25. And Kendrick Nunn and Norman Powell are in $21 and $17 respectively. Those are some prices that do stand out to me currently looking on Yahoo. Do you have any final thoughts on the shooting guard position and any other plays that stand out? Seth Curry is also $11 on Yahoo.
One last guy, Derrick Rose. I think he's fairly priced. He's 61 on DraftKings, 57 on FanDuel, and 20 on Yahoo. Now he's point guard on the latter two, but he's point guard, shooting guard on DraftKings. The reason I want to point this out is he is going against the Wizards, and he's actually been outstanding. I just want to make sure that this is an island game. In any event, I know that obviously the typing and talking, two things that are escaping me doing at the same time right now. He did not play Sunday, clearly. I just wanted to see if Detroit plays on Tuesday. They do not. They don't play again until Wednesday. So that bodes well for him getting his solid 27, 28 minutes per game. They have said that they're trying to keep him around 25. They will not go over 30 because they want Derrick Rose healthy the whole season. But he is someone that should thrive in this matchup against the Wizards. You're going to see him come in projected for around 30 fantasy points on most sites. I think he has a legitimate shot at going for that 40 fantasy point plateau. So he is a solid mid-tier glue guy that I think will get lost in the shuffle and probably come in around somewhere between 10 and 12% owned on most of the sites. And you can use that as a differentiation play for a solid player. I don't think he's going to get 50 fantasy points because he's just not going to be on the court long enough. But against the Wizards, 40 is most definitely in play, particularly if Griffin and or Drummond are out. They're going to need someone who can score.
Completely agree with you there. So, and the only thing that I'd be cautious with Rose, obviously, is like he's Derrick Rose, that minutes limit. He's like the king of load management right now in Detroit. So that's my only concern with Rose. But if no Blake and no Drummond are there, I mean, that's his show along with Luke Kennard. So
yeah, be interesting because they don't have to worry about any bigs. The Wizards will happily go small because they don't have any front court guys with Bogner out. Moving on over here to small forward, you've got Giannis Antetokounmpo going against Dallas. Yeah, not really going to be as exciting of a game as it would have been if Luka Doncic was not injured. In his last game against Cleveland, in 24 minutes, Antetokounmpo dropped 44 fantasy points. In 27 minutes against Memphis, he had 56. And then in 35 against Orlando, he had 68. Probably going to see closer to those 45 or so fantasy points, which not really going to kill you, but 11,100, that's a huge chunk of your salary cap. I'd rather be taking chances elsewhere. We know that there are no guarantees and weird stuff does happen. And when Milwaukee is involved in competitive games, he gets, darn near 2 fantasy points per minute. And you got to remember that Eric Bledsoe is also out. But tough ask for him to get up there. I do like Middleton at 6,900 there at small forward. Carmelo Anthony, there was a nice article. I think it was on the Ringer, Bill Simmons site, but they were talking about Portland's letting Carmelo be Carmelo, and it's working. was the interesting thing. That's just how bad they've been. But it sort of has been, at least somewhat stabilized them. They're not doing as well in the win column, but they have been at least competitive in more of their games. So he's someone that we can look to, kind of in that mid-tier, sort of that Derrick Rose range there. And then Dylan Brooks will be the last guy I mentioned. So we probably will have Brandon Clark in this game, as well as John Morant. But Clark has been putting the biscuit in the basket recently. Now his shooting has been above 50% in three of the last 4 games. He's been averaging 2.5 3-pointers in those games, but these are NBA points: 27, 19, 27, and 17. That's pretty darn solid. So I like him. It is a difficult matchup against Miami, but we know Miami plays a little bit differently when they're missing their key veterans that can't play that sort of systematic defense that Coach Spoelstra instills. They're still a good defensive team, but they're not as good without those guys that know what they're doing there. That's kind of my initial pops here at the small forward position. And then Norman Powell. I will be playing him if Fred VanVleet is out in the Fred VanVleet fan club. Check that out on my Twitter. It'll be my pinned tweet. But if you join the DraftKings Awesemo League, you will have access to the Fred VanVleet contest. That is where I post them. I no longer post them out on Twitter. But if you win and you have an Awesemo avatar, you will get 30 free days of Awesemo premium content. It's just $1, and it pays out just like normal DraftKings 100-man contest. So check that out. It should be a lot of fun. What do you like here, working your way down the small forward list?
Yeah, so taking a look at the small forward position, piggybacking off your Norman Powell take, price at 5.5 against Cleveland. I like it a lot. No complaints there. Tim Hardaway is priced up at 5.8. He's going to garner some of that Luka Doncic usage that's going to be spread across the Mavs team. I don't hate it at 5.8. It definitely he can definitely pay that off. He's someone who's one of those hot and cold players where if he gets hot, he can definitely knock it down. Speaking of getting hot, did you watch that workout video of Davis Bertans just pulling up for 40 in practice consistently?
Yes, yeah, that was amazing. I sent the clip to Adam, and my comment was, I've been searching for a new favorite Washington Wizard since Kelly Oubre left. I thought it was going to be, then it was kind of Tomas Satoransky, and then I thought, okay, they'll keep one of Satoransky, Parker, or Bobby Portis. They didn't keep any of them, so we're open again. And defense is no longer a criteria of mine. So it could be Davis Bertans. He literally was just draining them like nobody's business, flicking the wrist from 35, 40 feet, just moving around the arc. It was amazing.
Yeah, no kidding. On 6.3 on DraftKings, where you get the additional 3-point bonus, he can pay that off. He's shown that multiple times this year so far. So I don't mind that. Giannis is priced at 11.1, and you already mentioned what Giannis can do. I like that price tag a lot on DraftKings, where the double bonus is definitely there, and he's Giannis. He can easily put up. He's shown the 70, 80 point upside in multiple times in the past. Other intriguing cheap options to take some darts on. Standing out to me, Dante D Vincenzo's price at 4.6 has that small forward eligibility on DraftKings. Onto FanDuel. Troy Brown priced at 4.8. He's been getting some more run of late. I like paying down on small forward position quite a bit. Got to keep an eye on news in Miami, just in case Derrick Jones Jr. He's already getting around, I'm going to say 24, 25 minutes. He can price at 4. He's one of those players where I like when I see a 3, not in the 3.5 to 3.9 range. And when I see the 4, when he starts getting above 4K, I am a little more hesitant. But the small forward position doesn't look that nice outside of maybe Luke Kennard, definitely at 5.8 if no Blake and no Andre. But small forward is where I like to pay down a lot on FanDuel, usually just because of how roster builds up. But It's FanDuel small forward doesn't look that hot for me currently right now. For tomorrow, onto Yahoo, some cheap players that you have. I want to say D Vincenzo's at $11 there. Daniel House is also $11 there. It's going to be important to keep an eye on Jay Crowder news, like you said, how that will affect the Memphis rotation. And Tim Hardaway is $15 there. So those are some options on Yahoo that I'll definitely be considering for sure. Any other final thoughts on the small forward position for you, Ema?
No, I think that hits it. But looking at power forward, the guy that stands out the most is Pascal Siakam. He's favorably priced on all the sites. Add a nice little reminder that he is really, really good in his last game. Played his normal minutes. He's like third or fourth in the league in minutes. He's playing about 35 to 38 per game. He finally started making, or he didn't actually make his shots in this one. Let me look at it. Oh, yeah, this was the game. So he had 6 combined blocks and steals, 3 of each. He had 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 30 points for 64 fantasy points. Now, things I wanted to point out here are he is someone that took on an increased scoring load here with Kawhi Leonard leaving, and his scoring efficiency has gone way, way down, like to the low 40s. And lately he's really been slumping. A lot of this has to do with the extra volume. He's taking some more 3-pointers, etc. But he is a career 51% shooter, and he is someone that I think will be closer with this added volume to the 48-49% range, but that will come up. And I think this matchup against Cleveland, the Toronto can't screw around. They've lost 4 of their last 6, and they really need to bank some wins, because home court advantage throughout the playoffs is going to be what they need to continue having a nice run. No one can replace Kawhi Leonard, but in the East, if you can have home court advantage, that will be very, very helpful. I don't see that they can get by Milwaukee, but that's a long ways away still. So I think at 8,600, I want to say he's like 9 on FanDuel, and he's relatively discounted there comparatively on Yahoo. I'm trying to pull it up. So he is 80. Oh, he's 86 on both FanDuel and DraftKings, and then he's 41 there on Yahoo. But he's someone that I like, and I think is going to get lost a little bit in the shuffle. And I think some other people are going to say, "Oh, but Toronto is 12-point favorites, and they're just going to blow out Cleveland." I wonder if those were the same people in chat today, Rinpack, that said on the YouTube chat, not our wonderful Slack chat people. I'll bust their balls about something else. But the YouTube people were saying, "Oh, there's no way we can play LeBron and Anthony Davis. They're going to just blow out Atlanta in Atlanta, and they're just going to be sitting there being cheerleaders on the bench." Guess what? That game was within 10 points almost the whole time, so LeBron and Anthony Davis had to play a boatload of minutes. That happens a lot in the NBA. And Toronto does not have the luxury of just hoping that they win and turning it over to the second unit. This is no longer the same vaunted second unit that Toronto had for years. Those guys are now in the starting lineup. So you'll want to just say, good spot for Siakam. Yes, it's kind of a high price for what we're used to with him, but this is a 50 fantasy point spot, if not higher, with reasonable assuredness. So he's the main guy I like at this position. I've been talking a lot. What do you like from the rest of the position here?
Yeah, so power forward, obviously, a player that I feel a lot of people are going to go to is Kristaps Porzingis, just because of Luka not being there. He's priced at 7.8 on DraftKings, and I believe he is priced at 8.8 on FanDuel. So it's going to be interesting what they'll do defensively, how to guard Giannis, and how that will end up going, and what how Porzingis' role is going to be in the offense. I didn't get to catch much of the game against Miami, but I do expect him to take a big step forward offensively, just to garner the load without Luka not being there. You talked about Brandon Clark earlier. He's that's something that he has shown some upside. Price at 5.1. Matchup's a bit tough. I love Pascal Siakam, 8.6. He's gonna. I feel like he's gonna be a five-digit player soon, and he's just been phenomenal all year. Should be an all-star. There's the Kevin Love conundrum again, priced down at 6.8. We just don't know what the minutes are going to be like for him. He had, I think, a couple games ago, he had a big game. I think he scored over 50 fantasy points against the Spurs. That's just it's just you can take it. It's not safe at all in cash, but taking a few darts at GPPs could work out. Some guy who should be the most improved player candidate is Bam Adebayo this year. He has been phenomenal. He priced up at 9.3 on FanDuel, and he priced at what is he only has center eligibility on DraftKings, so that's a FanDuel only play. And if Andre Drummond's out on FanDuel, you can go to Christian Wood, price at 3.8, and I'd expect him to be very popular. And that kind of sums it up for me. Frank Kaminsky got quite a bit of run again last game, and he paid off that price tag. He's priced down at 4.9. I'm a bit hesitant to go to Jaren Jackson. It's a tough matchup. Those are kind of my thoughts right now on the power forward position. Let me take a quick look on Yahoo. Gallinari's priced down at 21. Porzingis is only 30. And any cheap players in the 10 range, Thad Young is $12. He's been getting some couple extra minutes there with the injury to Cornette. Carmelo Anthony is 21, and Rui Hachimura is also 21. Those are some names. At a first glance look at the power forward position on Yahoo. It's going to be one of those positions that's going to alter based off some news tomorrow.
All right, let's move on to the center position, and we will get on out of here. I want to point out that Hassan Whiteside has been phenomenal. The 23 games he has played in, he has averaged 16.2 points, 12.4 rebounds, which is sixth in the league, and very, very nice because he is getting that double-double bonus with regularity, which is very, very helpful. I'm just looking here. So he's playing 5 minutes more per game than he did last year with Miami. This is comparable to when he broke onto the scene his first 2 years with Miami. He played 29 and 32 minutes. And then the last 2 years with Miami, he played 25 and 23 minutes per game. So this is the double-doubles are going to keep coming. The blocks, he has 2.4, which is among the league leaders, and that is solid as well, especially on FanDuel, because you get 3 points for blocks and steals there. He's someone I think that not everybody's calibrated to what he is doing now with Portland. So the matchup against Phoenix is a good one. It's going to be tough. He's going to have Aaron Baines against him, but he just dropped almost 60 fantasy points in Denver. 35 minutes, he went 15 of 21 from the field, even dropped a three-pointer in there. Wow, he was feeling it. But he had nearly 60 fantasy points, 33 points, 11 boards, 4 blocks. Very, very solid. He has topped 40 fantasy points in, 7 of his last 10. That's pretty solid. I like that. He's another guy kind of there with Siakam that you get those guys in. They're not the big name guys, but if one of those big name guys, really expensive guys, falters, like Giannis or Giannis or Harden, you'll have a decent chance of doing well. So I like them. And then Clint Capella, kind of down there at 76. He's somewhat interesting to me. And then if we drop all the way down, Brook Lopez at 47 going against Dallas. I feel like it's a decent matchup for him. That might be getting a little bit cute, but something to look at as well. What do you like here from the pivot position? And then we will let everybody get on their merry way.
So if Andre Drummond is ruled in and playing, I love him at 9.3. And if Blake Griffin is not there, I love it even more. 9.3 price tag on DraftKings against this Washington Wizards front court. I'm a massive, massive fan right now. I kind of hope he plays so I can get to roster him. Some other options, Adebayo's at 8.2. I don't mind that. Center is not that fun today on DraftKings for some reason. Let me see.
I like the as you mentioned, Adebayo going against Memphis. That's a good one for him. He's had his fantasy point totals on DK: 58, 37, 66, 52, 52. That's pretty nice. Then again, 19, 29, 19. All right. lacking some consistency here. But you mentioned it. You like him as the most improved player here. He's carrying a heavy price tag as well, but this is the matchup where he should thrive in.
For sure. Yeah, and you talked about Brook Lopez is also another option at 4.7 on DraftKings. You could, if rosters work out, you could consider rostering Porzingis in center if you want. I'm not the biggest fan of doing that. LaMarcus Aldridge has center eligibility, priced down at 7.1. There's some options here, but if Andre Drummond is ruled inactive, I expect him to be like talked up across the industry and whatnot, and I expect him to also be mentioned in the Osmo strategy syllabus, which will be free tomorrow. So if you've not seen that before, I highly recommend checking that out, where the Osmo NBA team kind of lay out their picks and plays and pivots of throughout the roster builds and whatnot. It's a very popular article, and it's one of our better premium article features that we have on the site. On FanDuel, same story. Andre Drummond priced at 10K. Clint Capella has really been just having monster games of late over the past month. He's priced at 9.7. And Jonas Valanciunas at 7.4. Tough matchup, but he's Joval. He has always shown of putting up an upside. Outside of that, Hassan Whiteside is 9.5, especially on FanDuel where you get that bonus, the extra point bonus for blocks. That can work out. On to Yahoo. Whiteside is at 34. Definitely stands out. Aldridge at 30. Tristan Thompson is at $20 there. I do like that quite a bit right now. Brook Lopez is 19. And
couple cheapies there. Aaron Baines at 15, Maxi Kleber at 10, and then we mentioned a few times, hinted around with Christian Wood. He can play power forward. He would get maybe a little bit of time next to Drummond if Blake is out and Drummond plays, but he would still get all of the backup center minutes. So I think he at $10 even, and even on FanDuel at 38, those are kind of interesting. Gets a little tougher at 45. There's other places we can go on DraftKings, but he'd be the last guy to round things out, since we've mentioned him at darn near every position until we got to the ones he actually played.
Yeah, looking at it right now, I wouldn't think Blake Griffin would play, just based off some reading some of the Detroit beat reporters. Markieff Morris would definitely get some extra run with that. He's priced at 3.9, I believe, and I think he's near the min on the other sites as well. But Markieff Morris is someone who should definitely garner some ownership if Blake Griffin is ruled out.
Is this the third time these teams have played, or just the second? Let's see.
Markieff Morris, would you call this a revenge game for Markieff Morris?
Yeah, no. He played 14 minutes in the revenge return to Washington, or somewhere around there. I don't remember what it was. It wasn't very much. No, this is just the second time these guys are playing. So.
Yeah, Markieff Morris is 3.9 on DraftKings. So definitely looking for value if Blake Griffin is out. Someone you should definitely be considering. It's gonna be an interesting slate. No Luka. We'll see how much Jalen Brunson gets the love, and if it's the right love, if it's like the right play to play him based off all the options Carlisle can do. That's something where I think we get to learn a lot about like how to handle ownership at that time, how we project it, and making those certain decisions. I mean, any decisions in DFS, you're going to be close decisions, and obviously the results are can have a wider range of results. So it just makes what DFS fun, and get to turn the page each time it doesn't work out.
All right, well, we're going to turn the page on this podcast, so definitely check us out. Again, mentioned all the shows, but 9:30 a.m. you get the DFS Strategy Show. That is turned into a podcast. 11 a.m. you get the NFL DFS Strategy Show. That is turned into a podcast. In the afternoon, you get the NHL show. And then 5 o'clock will be the deeper dive. 6 o'clock will be live before lock. And then lather, rinse, repeat. We're going to do it all over again. With that, gamers, good luck.